Okay, right out of the gate, I want you folks to know that this is big. This is the Mount Everest of money making in all the world. This is the most powerful, dangerous, and lucrative technology in the world, and it's called a disruptive innovation. Uber, Amazon, Netflix, Tesla, TikTok, Instagram. These are all called disruptors. They are the subject of the Ivy League. They turn engineers that make them into billionaires and trillionaires, and we're going to teach you folks how to make them, because right now, our people, Black and Latin children, have no idea. But our goal is that by the time you graduate, you'll already have a company on the NASDAQ and you're about to become a billionaire. That's the ideal. So you play with it while you're in college, and by the time you graduate it, boom. Just like the guys and girls that go to Harvard, they indoctrinate them to make them there. It's responsible for them having a $52 billion endowment. Harvard is one of the most powerful schools in the world because of this, because they push their kids in this direction. And this is the start of us doing it for you in your university, because when politicians come in like Trump and say they're going to start cutting costs to education, it just furthers the notion of you ever being able to play at that level. So we're going to teach everybody what they know. And these things are like an atomic bomb. They destroy a whole industry and rebuild a whole new one in its place, making the creator a disruptor. I should know. I'm an engineer. A guy named Sean Fanning, who went to school with me, created something called Napster, destroyed the music industry, put Tower Records out of business, right? And it's responsible for why you guys download music the way we do now, right? The guy who played Justin Timberlake played this guy's character in The Social Network. They said he went to Dartmouth, but he didn't go to Dartmouth. He went to Northeastern University with me because I studied engineering there and I know how to make these. Northeastern kept it a secret from me, and I, unbeknownst to myself, acting as a spy, stole the information so I can now give it to you. So, as I said, I'm a spy. I used to work at Northeastern in the laboratory where Northeastern and MIT and Harvard would do these experiments that I would see. I know Northeastern kept this a secret from me. So I wrote these books so that everybody can to level the playing field. And this is my first book. Just to tell you, I was a young man once. I'm now an older guy, but I wrote this book. I wanted to be like a James Bond kind of character. So this is a story of me of discovering something called colorism, which is something that stops black people from working together. It's very bad in the Caribbean where I'm from. So that's what this book is about. And this is me working in corporate America and hanging out with all these celebrities. I had friends who were in the entertainment industry. So by day I was hanging out selling technology, and at night I was in VIP sections with Jay-Z and in the Hamptons and Vegas and doing all this crazy stuff, trying to figure out why these entertainers were making more money than me. And when I found out that the entertainers were really looking up and worshiping engineers, these engineers that create these disruptors, I was stunned. I was like, I'd been chasing entertainers and rappers and models all over the country when I should have been chasing myself. So that's when I wrote the second book, which is what we hope to give you and for you folks to read. But this first book, this girl, Sky P. Marshall, she's a bona fide actress right now. You should look her up. She's obviously very beautiful. I used to see her in clubs, and she did the cover. She agreed to do the cover for me. And this was just another model. But it's really about light and dark skin issues. It's almost like James Bond meets School Days meets Sex in the City. And I, acting as my own publicist, I was on all these TV shows like Wendy Williams and Howard Stern, and I was all over BET. I did a bunch of shows. So I'm just telling you this to say I know my way around the media, right? And then I had my friends were running Quincy Jones's record label. So by day, I was hanging out with all these entertainment industry people, and that's how I learned to manipulate the entertainment industry and get myself on TV. I learned it from these guys who were the ones who finally let me know what a disruptive innovation even was. If it wasn't for me hanging out with them and they going to Ivy League schools and becoming so successful, I would have never figured this out. I would have never figured that's how big of a secret this is. And now I'm giving this secret espionage intel to you. Now, before we get into this is really important. I'm essentially, and you know, the directors here at BMI and all of these directors, they're basically asking you to listen to the audiobook for this thing. It's called The Formula. It's like a mathematical recipe for making a disruptor and a unicorn company, which we'll talk about later. Now, a group of billionaires were interviewed that had just come to this country as children and turned themselves into billionaires in one generation. And somebody interviewed them and they said, "How did you do this so fast?" And they said, "We read 6 autobiographical business books every month, and that's how we did it. In addition to going to college, we read strictly nonfiction business autobiographies, and that's how we figured out how to become billionaires so quickly." So they're not smarter than you, they're just out reading you. All right, so I just want to stress the importance of, if you want to be a billionaire, and I think everybody should, reading is part of it. The wealthiest people in the world, they just sit in their office and read books all day. All right, so you're going to get this book that gives you the instructions and the story of how I discovered this money machine, how I discovered disruptors, and how I figured out that I already knew how to make them unbeknownst to me, because my college tested me and kept it a secret from me, which is crazy, right? And you're going to also get an instruction manual in this book on how you can take whatever major you're in and disrupt it just like anybody else. Just like Mark Zuckerberg, just like Bill Gates or Steve Jobs. You're going to get the secrets, simple, watered down simple, so an elementary school kid can understand and use it, on how engineers make disruptors, and then salespeople, which I happen to be both, turn them into unicorn companies and become billionaires. That's what's in the book, and that's why I want you to listen to it. Now, the weird thing is that you would think that everything I learned in these engineering classes, but I really didn't. I really learned how to all these tools that I'm going to show you next that I learned, I invented, right? I invented them because while I was at Northeastern, they had this school called Berklee School of Music. All these incredible musicians went there, Branford Marsalis and fame. And so as a kid, I studied jazz guitar and I started playing the piano, and I basically discovered the secrets of how you create stuff and make innovations hanging out in the music, adjacent to the music world, because I would come home and I had my own jazz band, and I wanted to be, you know, like the orchestra leader. So, because I discovered jazz guitar when I was at Northeastern. I hated it, but I rediscovered it when I was there. And playing jazz guitar and working in engineering is how I conceptualize these tools that I'm going to give you, so that even though you don't study engineering, and even if your major is journalism, you can still use these tools and essentially turn yourself into a company engineer of any product, which is insane. We're going to teach you how to reverse engineer anything like a full-fledged engineer, just in your major, right? So you don't have to be afraid that this is engineering that's not for you. This is rated E for everybody because it's super, super simple. Okay, so this is your personal toolkit to make a disruptor like Uber or Amazon, and then turn it into a unicorn, right? And these tools, you know, I'm not going to go into the details with them, but basically these tools are so simple, elementary school kids use them in one day, and they're writing TV commercials and reverse engineering other products and coming up with amazing ideas. So I want you to take a deep breath and know that this is going to be, from an academic standpoint, this is going to be super simple but super impactful. It's going to basically put you on top academically. You're going to be able to see these tools in your major, and you're going to be able to apply them instantly. And if you go out looking for a job, the employer is going to either hire you because they don't want you working for the competition against them, or they're just afraid of you because they're stunned that you know this kind of stuff. Really. This is what it took. I didn't learn this until I was 35 in my corporate career. You're going to know it before you even graduate from college. And just that alone, you're going to be head and shoulders above everybody else. Even if you learn just one of them well, you'll be head and shoulders above most people. So this is going to be pretty dope. I'm excited to give it to you. So this is probably the most technologically advanced one. It's called a logic statement. If you study computer science, you heard of the if-then logic statement. This is my logic statement, and it works as a machine or like a function. Well, not a function because there's different stuff coming out of it, but you can basically figure out how anybody came up with the idea for any product, what they were thinking, and then you can make the idea or the product better and add more value to it, or you can you can figure out how to you can basically take other people's inventions apart and figure out what they were thinking and then come up with your own. It's called reverse engineering. And to be able to do this with every social media company or every product would just get your brain moving so fast as far as innovation is concerned that it would be nothing. You'd just be able to do it in your sleep. And I discovered this logic statement that I just showed you playing jazz guitar, because and what I want to say is that the way you come up with a new jazz guitar solo is the same thought process you use to invent some new amazing product. It's all innovation, and it's all based on logic. And it's what AI and all this artificial intelligence is all based on, conditional logic. And I'm going to teach you how to do it. So the final piece is just turning your disruptor that logic statement in that prior slide showed you how to come up with, and then turning it into a unicorn. Selling $1 billion of it in the first year is how you become a unicorn, and it goes up levels, hexacorn. There's a bunch of levels to it. I don't remember them. But I created a tool for you to do that. It's called a model, and models are very, very important. Models are the answer. In AI, you hear everybody talking about large language models, right? That's one of the applications of models, but models are also very important in the sales process. And so we're going to give you a customized business model that you can use to dissect and operate on any company and figure out how to make the company go faster or smaller. The wealthiest investor in the history of the stock market, his name is Warren Buffett. It's called intrinsic valuation. And I'm going to teach you how to use that to make products, to discover products, and then to sell them all over the world. And this is going to be a wild ride. I hope you're excited about it, because we need some black men to come up with some disruptors and be just as big as Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk. And I'm hopeful that I will go down as the father of this technological renaissance in the black community. And you gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, will lead the way. The youth are the innovators of tomorrow. The elders, which I am, are the keepers of tradition. And that's what this is. This is innovation, creative destructive